What's going on with y'all black people and non-black people? It's time for the Friday edition of Burning Down with Kim Brown, the safe space where we set oppression ablaze and we know that something will, can, and must better arise from the ashes. You know why? Because we're getting too old for this bullshit. I'd like to welcome everybody to the program today. Of course, you notice we are running just a few minutes behind, and let me own responsibility for that because I'm not going front. I started ripping bong hits, and I was oh shit, there's somebody talking on my computer. Hold on, sorry. I'm trying to bring up the chat, and of course, you know, high people are not good at doing much. So anywho, I'd like to welcome you all to the program. Pardon me for my tardiness and my stonerness, but we're gonna do the best that we can do, because after all, it is Friday, Craig, and you ain't got no job and you ain't got shit else to do. I'd like to welcome everybody to the program. What's going on, good people? Hello, Anna Hart. What's up, Chuck Diesel? What's going on? We got a new youngin'. What's up, Antoine? How you feel? What's going on? Rain DeSoot is in the building. Ursula Baptiste is in the building. All my people is in here. I'm so glad to see y'all's very specific smiling faces up in the place. Okay, guys, we have a big program for you in store today. Hello, Toby Swirly. Hello, darling. How are you? What's up, Alicia? Hey, what's going on, y'all? So everybody's on strike, apparently. Americans, at least the labor movement, has gotten a proverbial, let's call it a shot in the arm, and has begun to say no to a lot of these very terrible labor contracts, agreements of yesteryear and of present year that many corporations are trying to really ram down the unions' throats, despite the fact that lots of these businesses raked in record profits over the pandemic. So towards the end of the show, I'm gonna try to do a succinct yet thorough roundup of all the different labor unions that have gone on strike. And it's more than just John Deere, which is extremely important. The UAW workers in the Midwest on strike, more than the Kellogg's people, which is also very important. There's a lot of people that are fed the fuck up out here with working and working for slave wages, working untenable hours, and not being able to manage a proper, healthy work-life balance. So we're going to look at who is striking where and for what later on in the program. Also, later on in the program, you guys, I think the story is starting to percolate. Hey, what's going on, Vespa X? The story is starting to percolate a little bit, and maybe you've heard of it and maybe you have not. But in Oklahoma, this week, a 20-year-old Indigenous woman is facing up to 4 years in prison for manslaughter. Who did she kill, you ask? She didn't kill anybody. She had a miscarriage. She miscarried at 17 weeks, and she was indicted and now convicted this week for manslaughter, for having a miscarriage. It is going to be scary times facing American women, okay? And I want to talk about this woman's case, like I said, a tad bit later in the show. But let's just be clear here. It's not just Afghan women and girls who got it rough out here. You understand? The United States is not very good to women, despite its public relations efforts. Very bad to women, extremely bad to women. And with these more punitive and restrictive abortion bills that are percolating and starting to pop up, in serious challenge and opposition to Roe versus Wade, ladies, we may have to take legal considerations seriously with our bodies before even doing anything, for God's sake. 17 weeks. Well, anyway, I'll get into the details of the story in just a bit, but I wanted to lead off, y'all. Yes, Courtney, the SAP. Yes, real shit. Oklahoma. Collect your people. It's happening in Lawton, Oklahoma, by the way. If you're familiar with Oklahoma, Lawton is very country as fuck out there in Comanche County. It's rural. It's rural out there in Lawton. But anyway, let's start right here in DC, because I've been talking about this, and gang, I appreciate y'all so much, because I know that the environment is not a very sexist subject, and for reasons I don't quite understand. Like it's beginning to lead the news, the mainstream outlets every single night. Well, that's only because there has been once in a generation catastrophes every single season, multiple times a season, which is the reason why climate stories have been more reported on in the mainstream. But Fuck that, dog. At the end of the day, what the mainstream is not reporting on is the ways that the federal government and American corporations and global national corporations are destroying this planet piece by piece. The air, the water, the soil, every single bit of it. And I told y'all on Tuesday, this week, our indigenous brothers and sisters have come to the nation's capital to say, expect us, dog. We out here. You know why we out here? Because we are on the front lines of this climate catastrophe. And I say we proverbially because I am not indigenous, at least not that I'm aware of. Although, sidebar real quick, when I used to do the show, I did a show called Stir Crazy, and we would do First Nation Fridays with Johnny J, John Deere and Water, and Desiree Kane. They hit me to this term called pretendian. I was not previously aware of what pretendian meant. And then I found out that actually, quite possibly, me and my mother's side of the family could have been pretendians all this time. We thought that we was Pamunkey Indians, and now the evidence the evidence does not support us being Pamunkey Indians. So we could have been pretendians all these times. Okay, untime out. Okay, so this week in DC, there has been indigenous-led actions, especially led by indigenous organizations like the Indigenous Environmental Network. Honor the Earth was out there. Lots of different people came to Washington to number one, go to the White House to let Joe Biden know that his climate agenda is some shit. And there's no way on God's green earth that Joe Biden could ever be serious about addressing the issues of climate catastrophes and climate threats by continuing to approve pipe drilling, oil drilling projects. Tune, could you hold on? Let me go to my doc because I don't know what number it is. Let me take a look here. But it is the AP article. Let's do the scrolls. Thank you, sir. Okay. The Associated Press reported this back in July, gang, that the Biden administration, shocker to shocker, American drilling approvals increased despite Biden climate pledge. Well, lo and behold, what do we have here? Wait a minute. I thought Donald Trump was an existential threat to our very existence, and we had to get Trump out by any means necessary, or else the sky would be falling down on our face. No. According to the AP, again, this report comes from July, approvals for companies to drill for oil and gas in the United States on public lands are on pace this year to reach their highest levels since George W. Bush was president, underscoring President Joe Biden's reluctance to move more forcefully to curb petroleum production in the face of industry and Republican resistance. That's bullshit, first of all. Well, yes, there is Republican resistance and industry resistance to curbing petroleum, but the fact that the Associated Press had the audacity to say, that Joe Biden, yes, he is very reluctant to move forward to curb all of this. He's not interested in doing any of that. That's exactly what Joe Biden ran on, that he would not end the practice of fracking, which was, I guess, brought in more so by Barack Obama, his then boss at the time, which Obama, again, another phony ass fucking liberal who claimed to give a shit about the environment, and nothing in his policies indicated that. Only in his rhetoric, exactly the same as Joe Biden, and Biden has taken up that same very mantle. He is moving forward with more oil drilling projects, y'all, at a faster pace than Donald Trump, okay, on U.S. public lands. And what does this mean? When we drill, they spill. There's no way around that. Pipelines are filthy. And again, I have such reverence for our indigenous brothers and sisters because, again, this is not simply a resistance and a call to support the earth and to support the water and to support everything that literally we need as humans to survive. This continues to be a fight against colonialism. This continues to be fucking white-owned companies coming to continually rape the land, to continually violate their tribal treaties and agreements that they have with tribes for the love of fucking money. Kiss my ass. So I want us to take a look real quick, y'all, at this montage of clips because, again, the resistance was out there. that number may actually be higher than 300, but I think the last number I heard was 300 this week. At least 300 people have been arrested in DC this week. Did it make a blip on your local news media? I can tell you, I live in DC. I didn't see any local coverage about this. I hope the cable news networks at least mentioned shit if it wasn't too much trouble for them. But hundreds of people were arrested. The actions included Indigenous activists and some of their allies taking over the Bureau of Indian Affairs. They did a sit-in at the Bureau of Indian Affairs. They also rappelled along the Army Corps of Engineers building. They was out here in these streets. Some of the things were very creative. And of course, today the actions continued. It was youth-led marches throughout DC, and young people got locked up out there today too. So what we're going to see is a collection of clips produced on, well, at least published on the Twitter accounts of the People versus Fossil Fuels Twitter account at Fight Fossils. Also, the Indigenous Environmental Network. Yes. I think a couple of these might be Jennifer Falcone tweet videos as well. So you guys, I want you guys to take a look at this because it was really good. And I don't know who else is talking about it besides Indigenous media, as y'all all know. I mean, there's no way black people could ever be free in this country if Native Americans aren't free. You feel me? And vice versa. And vice versa. That's a two-way street right there. You feel me? Because no, like, even though, I mean, we ain't people, but we people. You dig? So listen, this is what we're going to do. We're all going to sit back, check out this collection, this montage, if you will, of some of the actions held this week that began on Indigenous Peoples Day this past Monday. Let's take a look at that today.
This is Indigenous land.
We are protectors.
And the United States of America has only been here in a blip of an eye. Our nations have been here for tens of thousands of years, and we will continue to be here for tens of thousands of years, long after the so-called United States is gone.
These are all the people that came to support. Chose not to get arrested. I look over here to all the people that are willing to get arrested today.
Everybody dance.
We must end our addiction to fossil fuels. It is killing us. Stand united and realize that we have a responsibility, not just for ourselves, but for the next 7 generations. If you can think that way, then you will truly change the world.
The earth is on fire. We don't need that money, let these corporations burn. The earth is on fire. We don't need that money, let these corporations burn.
Incredible pictures there. Everybody coming straight from DC. People versus fossil fuels. A week-long actions here in the district. And gang, wait. First of all, what in the hell is going on in the chat? I need y'all to behave. I don't know what's happening. It looked like some foolishness was trying to take seed, but it looks like the foolishness perhaps has eroded. But Molly ain't here today, so if somebody come in here trying to act up, I need y'all to do what we do up in here. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Hey, what's up, guys? Shaw's in here. Hello, Gene. Hello, everybody. I'm so happy to see y'all smiling faces. Anyway, so the problem obviously comes from the fact that the Biden administration is not interested again, like his predecessor, y'all. The can keeps continuing to be kicked down the road as it pertains to environmental taking some serious addressing of the environmental crisis. And y'all, I'm not going to even front. Let me be clear. There's a lot of reasons why I am child free, but one of those reasons definitely include the status of the planet and the future status of the planet. Because the shit don't look cute. There's nothing about it looks cute. And again, like I told y'all, I think it was Monday. I think it's very unfair for us to put the onus and the burden on elementary age school children to save the planet when, number one, they didn't fuck up the planet. That was not their doing. And second of all, no one in power. There is no political force. There is no corporate force that is trying to fix the brakes on this runaway shit train that the planet is on. So I feel it's really fucked up to sort of sell to the kids that no, the planet can't improve, because yes, it could improve, but I can assure you in the 30 years now that has passed since I was in elementary school, and they tried to put that same bullshit on me in the 1980s that it was on us to save the planet, and here I am grown as fuck, fully understanding that there is nothing that I could personally do to save the planet. I can recycle all I want. I can pick up all my dog's poop, but things are still headed in a direction that have very little to do with me, and I have very little impact on. And that is where we run into problems and where we run into difficulties. Tunde, if you could please, oh shit, never mind. Oh yes, I'm sorry. Could you pop up A2 for me, please? The good people at Oil Change, the price of oil, they have released a report that said where they analyzed 24 fossil fuel projects that Joe Biden can stop right now. And they found that stopping them would prevent the annual greenhouse gases emissions, the equivalent of 400 coal-fired plants. Now, I just want you all to remember that when Joe Biden starts rambling, and I do mean rambling, when Joe Biden begins to ramble, schmamble, and bamble on and on about the urgency of the climate catastrophe that we're facing, because there is nothing in his policies that indicate that he is serious about addressing this at all. Nothing whatsoever. And even within the infrastructure bill, which I have to confess, the reason I have not paid too much attention to the infrastructure bill debate, because number one, it's not enough money. Number two, the money that the Biden administration has proposed spending on human infrastructure and indeed physical infrastructure for the country pales in comparison to the amount of military defense spending. So nigga, you ain't serious at all. If you was serious, you would at least make the infrastructure, be it physical or people infrastructure spending bill, equivalent, if not more, to the Pentagon or the military funding, right? So again, people absolutely reveal what their priorities are and what their morals are and their principles are through what they fund, through how they budget. And the United States prioritizes the military above everybody else. Fuck you, fuck the roads, fuck the water. Y'all paying attention to that story out in Michigan? Is it Benton Heights? Do I have that right? Let me go back to the chat. Benton Heights, Michigan, where lo and behold, the lead levels are astronomical in this place that is a couple hours from Flint. Turns out this is also another black town, right? So again, miss me with your outrage and your concern, Joe Biden. Joe Biden know he gonna be in the ground soon enough. He knows that he is not gonna have to truly deal no, not beyond the extent that he's currently dealing with it, but he knows that by and large, like, he's not going to be around to see Delaware go into the Atlantic, right? He understands that, but I guess he just don't be giving a fuck about his grandkids and his descendants, because I would imagine if he did, he would refine his policies. Or Joe Biden has been able to squirrel enough money away from being a fucking corporate lobbyist hack, on the recipient end of all kinds of nefarious money from big banking, from big chemical, DuPont and 3M, I believe, all based in Delaware, because Delaware is a stinky fucking little state. You ever been to Delaware? Delaware stinks. I'm sorry, Delaware, if we have any Delawareans in the building, but your state is stinky. I've passed through your state many times. It smells, and you should blame Joe Biden for that, for all the things. Anyway, I want us to be concerned and add, and I'm not saying that there are not organizations, Black-led organizations, that are absolutely taking on the issue of not only climate threats, but environmental injustice, right? Where Black folks are disproportionately exposed to things in the environment, harmful elements, man-made elements in the environment, that lessens our lifespans and increases our risk of disease and chronic illness. I know that, but I just love to see our Indigenous people out there, because to be clear, y'all, Indigenous folks have taken over the Bureau of Indian Affairs before. I believe it was who's fighting wars? Why do we look like what? Oh, a girl. Shut up, Radisson. Anyway, the native-led resistance back in 1972 during the Nixon administration, if I have this right, also took over the Bureau of Indian Affairs, similar to the water protectors did this week here in DC, man. And when I looked at that 1972 footage, because I did it for some research, I didn't include it in the package today, I'm sorry, but I cried, y'all, because I'm like, God damn, these people have been fighting these colonizers for hundreds of years. They have been fighting them for hundreds of years. And by and large, they have been nice about the shit. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, they was talking. Anyway, you go and do your Googles, y'all. When the Native organizations took over the Bureau of Indian Affairs back in 1972, like I found this little PBS documentary, I think from like PBS Colorado somewhere. And this one Indian brother was talking about how he and his brother, they used to call them the Bomb Brothers, because they was all about letting off bombs and shit. And I'm like, oh, nope. Well, sometimes the violent resistance is the only thing that the colonizers understand. That's the only language they understand. So anyway, incredible work happening that happened this week in DC. So please, we have to continue to resist the oil pipelines. We have to continue to resist the use of fossil fuels. Bad deals for your kids, man. It's terrible deals for your kids. Anyway, I want us to move along, guys, real quick. And listen, if you have the opportunity, how many people? Okay, that's 73 people. Who the fuck came in here and gave us a thumbs down? Get that bitch ass nigga up out of here, Chuck Diesel. We don't have time for that shit. We don't fucking up my good goddamn like to dislike ratio. See, that just made me mad. Anyway, I said we have 70-some people in the building. Please, do me a favor. If you haven't already hit the thumbs up on the joint, hit the thumbs up, please, and thank you. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please take some time and subscribe to the channel. You can follow us places around the internet. Also, BIDWKB on Facebook and IG. And shout out, what y'all laughing at? And shout out to everyone who has joined us on Patreon. I have to belch on, don't give me a second. Everyone who has joined us on Patreon, we certainly appreciate it. I think we're up to like 97 patrons, which you... What? 97 patrons? That's unbelievable. We appreciate it, y'all. Patreon.com/BIDWKB. Heads up for the patrons. As promised, we will deliver the second of our October Ask Me Anythings on Friday, October 29th. So... be there. be there or be square. Good time shall be had by all. Yo, it's Thomas. Shantae 100, Shantae 100. Love y'all, love y'all, love y'all. Y'all are the greatest, man. Thank you so much. Hey, Northern Witch. Oh, thank you, Northern Witch. Y'all, Northern Witch said that I'm the only patron she's ever joined. Isn't that sweet? Y'all are nice. Anyway, let's move on to the next topic. Oh, the next topic. I almost forgot. See, I got into a tiny space of zen for about 3 seconds. And then I remembered what the next topic was. Oh, kids. Okay. All right. People who get pregnant. This one's for you. And people who can't get pregnant, this should be for you too. Because I don't think that it's fair that only the people that can get pregnant be getting into some trouble behind some puritanical legal puritanical nonsense that be on the books. Okay, y'all. So this week, can you pop up B1 for me, please, Brother Tunde? A very shocking story is beginning to percolate throughout the interwebs, guys. And, you know, to me, it's no coincidence that this travesty of a conviction happened again the same week as Indigenous Peoples Day. Indigenous Peoples Day was Monday. Joe Biden sicked the police on Indigenous people in the nation's capital. And in the heartland, in Lawton, Oklahoma, a Native American woman has been convicted of manslaughter over a miscarriage. You heard me correctly. 20-year-old Brittany Pulau faces 4 years in prison for a miscarriage she suffered about halfway through her pregnancy. Guys, and here's the funny thing. So I did not see Brittany's picture until today. I read the story maybe a day or two ago. And the first thing that popped in my mind, I said, ain't no way they put a white woman in jail for a miscarriage. I just knew that. Like instinctively, like I knew it was a non-white woman. I knew I wasn't sure if she was Native or possibly even black, because Oklahoma, and especially in that part of Oklahoma, it's Negroes in Lawton and Comanche County. I don't know how many Negroes, but it's Negroes out there. So I knew it was racism all up in the joint, right? So, Brittany, here's the deal with Brittany. Let me even explain to you how she even came to be charged with manslaughter, okay? So, Brittany has a substance abuse problem. Brittany is addicted to methamphetamines. And when the child, let me rephrase, pardon me, when the fetus was autopsied. And again, I'm still not 100% clear as to what made them take the additional step to give this woman's fetus, her miscarried fetus, an autopsy. But when they did, they found that the fetus had methamphetamines in its liver and in its brain, and it had some congenital deformities, right? And because Brittany still had methamphetamines in her system and marijuana while she had been pregnant, Comanche County decided to take the additional step to charge her, okay? So she miscarried when she was 19. She miscarried at home in 2020 and was brought to the Comanche County Memorial Hospital with the umbilical cord still attached to the fetus. She also told medical staff that she had, like I said, both meth and weed in her system. So they decided to charge her with this, or at least I think they took this actually to a grand jury and charged her with manslaughter. And the jury found this week that she was guilty. And could possibly face 4 years in jail. Now, what I found interesting, well, it's more disturbing than interesting, right? But the prosecution had a gynecologist. They had a GYN testify for over an hour. And even on the stand, the gynecologist conceded that there was no way to definitively tell whether or not the drugs in Brittany's system is what caused her miscarriage. As people who can get pregnant know, and people who cannot get pregnant should know if they don't know. But women can miscarry for a myriad of reasons. Like, there's literally so many reasons why a pregnancy can end in miscarriage. And it does not necessarily have to do with, quote unquote, how well the mother is taking care of herself, right? There's women out here, or pardon me, people who get pregnant out here who eat perfect, exercise perfect, take all the prenatal pills and everything, and still lose their babies, right? I mean, in 17 weeks, I don't give a fuck how much meth she was smoking. 17 weeks, that's deep in a pregnancy as far as I'm concerned. I have shared, I believe, on the AMA, maybe I have not shared this, disclosed this channel wide, but I mean, because I wasn't tripping. No, I did tell you. I told y'all I had a miscarriage because y'all made funny jokes about the miscarriage. Because again, I was like, whew, thank you, miscarriage. But anyway, I miscarried at 8 weeks, right? That shit was awful. I mean, on my body, it was very hard. Can you imagine miscarrying at fucking 17 weeks? 17 weeks, you were big time pregnant. That, I don't care how much meth she was smoking. That was not fun for her, I assure you. And for this young woman, 20 years old, young Native woman, of course, to be headed to jail for this, amongst COVID, and of course, one of the most cruelest states to be incarcerated in the state of Oklahoma. Oklahoma's bad. It's very bad. They believe in the carceral system there, and they love the racisms, and they are very much anti-Indigenous out there, right? Even though there's high population or high density of Indigenous relative to the rest of the country, but they're not nice to Indigenous people in Oklahoma. Yes, indeed. Yes, Rainda said it totally does. Some miscarriages happen spontaneously. Yes, Lawton, Oklahoma, honey. Comanche County. Oklahoma dwells atop the bones of many. Yes, it does. Now, so when I read the story, perturbed by the story, obviously, because we know that women's reproductive rights are under attack, especially in a lot of places in the South, Texas, Georgia, even the Midwest, Missouri, in Mississippi, Alabama, increasingly making it damn near impossible for a woman to legally seek and safely seek an abortion. I think in Alabama, they don't even make exceptions for rape or incest. I mean, just like fucking caveman shit. Like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? But to be starting to prosecute women for miscarriages, right? Like, I think that is a slippery slope that unfortunately a lot of Black women and women of color might find themselves on the receiving end of an actual prosecution, a legal case being brought against you because you lost your child. I want us to take a look, guys, because I knew when I read that, I'm like, wait a minute. I've heard this before. I have heard this story before. Where have I heard this story before? Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on real quick, Tunde. Pop up B2 for me if you didn't pop it up already. Because I just wanted to give you... Oh, okay. Because the way that Oxygen.com reported the story when they actually showed Brittany's face versus the way that the local Lawton, Oklahoma media covered it, the headline said, "Woman found guilty for first-degree manslaughter," like she fucking shot somebody. You know what I mean? Like, it's just... I just wanted to highlight that distinct difference, but important distinction in the way that media bias can slant a situation, right? Yeah, they got this girl out here sounding like she done stabbed somebody with a pickaxe. No, that is not what happened. If you could ready up B3 for me, if you could, Tunde, right? So when I seen the story out of Oklahoma, and I'm like, yo, like, why does that sound like bad familiar? Well, it sounds familiar because a similar case happened to a Black woman in the state of Alabama. Thankfully, it was a different outcome for her. Her name was Marsha Jones, and I'm gonna play y'all the local TV clip. I believe this is CBS 42 down there in Alabama from, I think this is 2019. That sounds about right. Anyway, I'm not going to even I'm not going to even set it up for y'all. I'm just going to play it because it's absurd. But the absurdity is diminished because the outcome was favorable. It turned out, let me just give y'all the happy trigger warning. It turned out okay for this black woman, generally speaking, right? Tunde, let's take a look at this package. You guys, here's what happened to Marsha Jones.
In December of 2019, Marsha Jones was shot in a fight. As a result, she lost her unborn child. A grand jury indicted Jones on manslaughter charges, stating she intentionally caused the death of an unborn baby by initiating a fight knowing she was 5 months pregnant.
I have determined that it is not in the best interest of justice to pursue prosecution of Ms. Jones on the misdemeanor charge for which she was indicted by the grand jury.
Jefferson County Bessemer Cutoff District Attorney Lanice Washington said no further legal action will be pursued against Jones in this case.
What Lanice Washington did is what you would hope any prosecutor in America would do.
Jeffrey Robinson with the National American Civil Liberties Union says this case wasn't about protecting the life of an unborn child, but suppressing women's rights.
All of this concern for an unborn fetus that is reflected in the Alabama abortion law is part of the issue that was behind the indictment in this case. And what I wish is that the state of Alabama would show the same concern for life once a child is born as they appear to want to show for it before a child is born.
Jones's attorney praised Washington for her decision to put this case to rest.
She, I think, did what we could have most hoped for, and that is to give thoughtful consideration to what the law is in Alabama and to do the right thing. And I would say to her, and I would say to anybody else that has any criticism for her, should not be there.
Alabama is one of 38 states that allow fetuses to be classified as victims in homicides or assaults. The same grand jury that indicted Jones did not indict the woman that shot her. In Bessemer, I'm Malik Rankin, CBS 42 News.
Sidebar, how many white women y'all know named Malik? Malik Rankin reporting there for CBS 42. What's up, Malik? How you feel, sis? Yeah, okay, that was good reporting there from Malik. And again, like I said, that was a positive outcome. I think, was it you, Courtney, or Rain Desud, who said in the comments that the sister, Marsha Jones, undoubtedly suffers from PTSD as a result of this. Yes, she was facing legit time. It was a grand jury that indicted her. Can you imagine? Like, can you fucking imagine? Like, but this is really bad. And I'm starting to not to say that I did not ever. I mean, I've always had respect for the reproductive justice movement because it's important. You know, like women need options out here. Like it's. Motherhood is difficult, and no matter what, that's your baby, right? You know, you could have a very wonderful, involved partner in the whole situation, but if you pushed it out of you, that's your baby, and you gotta take care of that baby, and you are responsible for the majority of that baby's needs. And taking care of a baby can neglect your own needs and your own ambitions and your own desires. So for women to have the option to say, hey, no, either not now or not ever, that needs to be there. And also, more importantly, for women who have gone through the trauma of a rape or incest, or you have a medical complication with your pregnancy that the pregnancy needs to be terminated. I mean, this shit shouldn't even be fucking up for debate in the year 2021, but yet here we are. And unfortunately, as much as people are able to, and as much as you are able to, we have to support the abortion services providers, especially in states that are very hostile to abortion, because basically we are talking about people's lives, and not just the lives of the mothers, but also the lives of the children. Do children deserve to be coming into situations where they're not wanted or potentially abused or neglected, or if the state in which they are born, i.e., you know, Mississippi or Alabama, where the infant mortality rate and the life expectancies for children and infants is so terrible that maybe you just do the baby a favor, and not just the baby, but yourself. You know what I mean? Anyway. I know I'm not even talking nothing controversial as it pertains to abortion, because I grew up with the privilege and the comfort of knowing that abortion was available to me, despite the fact that that's something, those services I've never had to utilize, but they need to be there. They need to be there. They need to be there for me. They need to be there for the youths. They need to be available. So let's be sure to keep this issue extremely central. Because this absolutely affects Black women and Black and Indigenous women disproportionately, especially in states like Alabama and Mississippi, where the Black woman mortality rate during pregnancy and during childbirth are exorbitant. They are astronomical, and they are far above the national average. And I think DC also has some sort of fucked up statistic in that realm. I can't remember if it's among Black children or Black mothers that don't fare very well in the District of Columbia, but abortion needs to be there. What's up, Tunde? Did you say something to me? Okay. So real quick, everybody. That's right. That's why I've been saying, thank you, Shades. Thank you, darling. I appreciate that. Thank you, Elena. Elena said, oh, it's part of me. Shades. Shades says this applies to every person with a vagina, not just women. Yes. Yes. Anyone who could get pregnant. If pregnant people, all that applies to you. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you for that reminder, Shades. I appreciate it. Guys, I want to spookies along to the good news part of the program. Yes. Damn it, there's good news to report. And the reason it's good news because it's not a general strike. Not yet. Not yet. But the sleeping giant is starting to startle, right? Starting to stir, if we will. You guys, there is a lot of labor actions going on right now. There's a lot of people on strike. Across a lot of different industries. And I'm glad that mainstream media, you know, the cable news networks, in addition to the big three traditional news outlets, NBC, ABC, CBS, I've noticed they kicked up their coverage quite a bit of the strike, especially the John Deere strike, the UAW strike, the big one, I guess the largest one going on right now, because I know the IATSE people authorized the strike and have set a deadline, but I don't think the strike has actually began with IATSE. I want to say the date is the 18th that the IATSE folks are talking about that. So, Tunde, if you could pop up C1 for me, please. I found this Twitter account, Bernie Sylvest, did a quick, succinct wrap up of some of the current American strikes happening in the U.S. So let me run through them very quickly, just so you guys can be aware that they are even out there. 10,000 John Deere workers with UAW, as I said. The 1,800 Spectrum workers in New York. That's the Charter Communications / Spectrum, like the technicians and such. They have been on strike for several months now in New York, so be aware of that. The 1,800 Spectrum workers. I think that hashtag is Strike Spectrum. Yes. Follow that if you could. Also, a long term, I think now this is in month 6 or 7 down there in Alabama among the Warrior Met coal mine workers, 1,100 strong down there on strike. 800 nurses against St. Vincent's Hospital in Massachusetts. That's a really interesting account too. At Mass Nurses, you should check them out. Caregivers at the Sunrise Northeast Inc. Place being rep by SEIU, 1199 in the Northeast. And if we could get C2 up there for me, Tunde. Take these full screen if you're able, so everyone can read them. And additionally, the Red Bank Valley teachers in Pennsylvania, they're on strike. This is a strike that we have just talked about on this program. The 420 Heaven Hill distillery workers in California, in Kentucky. That strike is still ongoing. The Reno bus driver strike, led by the Teamsters. Local 533 ongoing, 2,000 CWA Catholic healthcare workers on strike now, and the 1,400 Kellogg's employees that are on strike with the bakers, confectioners, tobacco workers, and grain makers union. We're going to take a look at a piece from A More Perfect Union about the Kellogg strike in just a moment. But what's the other one? Yes, and the last one, C3, I'm sure you're already ahead of me, Tunde. C3, y'all, 450 steel workers in West Virginia. They are striking against special metals and solar pumps. That seems important. And dozens of iron workers, Local 851, are also striking in Pennsylvania. El Milagro workers, we have talked about that happening in Chicago's Little Village. Arise Chicago is the organization to follow with more information for that. And the musicians of San Antonio, also McDonald's workers in Michigan, as the fight for 15 in Detroit continues on for there. But I wanted to circle back to the Kellogg strike, everybody, because as we have looked at these clips before here on this program, because More Perfect Union does a really good job of interviewing people, and their production value is really high, and their videos are chock full of information. Tunde, if we could take a look at that More Perfect Union clip. What's happening in Texas, Craig Bardo? We done backslid to the Neanderthal era. Listen. Listen. I don't know if did we ever exit? Wait, or am I way behind in the chat? Okay. I know we're on a time schedule here. So real quick, guys, let's take a peek at this clip from More Perfect Union speaking to Kellogg's workers. I believe that this is in Memphis, at the Kellogg's plant in Memphis, where 1,400 workers nationwide remain on strike.
We feed all these families, but I can't feed mine.
You know, best friend died. Sorry, not my problem. That's yours. We got cereal to make.
We work 7 days a week. We are literally scheduled 7 days a week.
For any time that someone would feel sick or whatever, they want you to use your vacation days as opposed to having sick days. And again, in working excess of 120 days in a row.
$400 million in profit on cereal alone is not something you can walk in and tell us we're gonna give you less for.
If you don't be here, you get a point. If you get a point, you can get suspended, you know what I mean? So we got no choice, you have to be here. But it's just killing us.
You know, you can't even now go in there and tell them that your aunt passed away and you need a day off. They'll tell you to call in or use a vacation day.
So in order for me to get a day off, someone else is working 16 hours. Very often, we don't even know that we have to work 16 hours until 10 minutes before it's time to go home. If you have dogs, if you have kids you have to pick up from school, if you have other obligations, I hope you have somebody to call because you have to stay. They could tell me at 10:45, Heather, you're forced over, you have to stay. So then I'll work that next shift. At 6:30 a.m., I can go home. But then my regularly scheduled shift starts at 2:30 the next day. So there's 8 hours off in between, and that according to them is plenty.
They want to take our cost of living away. They want to take our vacations. They want to take our holiday pay away.
They want to take away any kind of ability for new people to come in to have what we have.
We're done, just giving up concession by concession. We're done being bullied by a company that makes millions and millions and, gives out billions of dollars in dividends.
That direct path to full-time employment, these transitionals never saw it.
Being a transitional, we pay for our health care. Our wages are different. We don't get a pension like everybody else does.
There is no difference between the guy that works right next to me tomorrow or 10 years from now. There's no reason why that guy should have a lower benefit level, a lower retirement level than what I do.
That's why we are striking, because we want the better pay, pension for everybody. It's not for only one group.
I have this job because people like my dad that worked here before me for 34 years didn't give up stuff coming in. We're just kind of looked over. You're a number.
We hear every day, and then today they're trying to tell us we make too much money.
They want to complain about what our wage is, and they want to talk about what our wage is. Well, if you didn't make me work every single Saturday and Sunday, if you didn't make me work every single holiday, my annual income wouldn't be at these levels that you don't want to go spread around like it's a bad thing.
The contract, it doesn't lend itself to future generations of sustainability here. I'm second generation, my father worked here, I'm not the only one. It's kind of a way of life, and we don't want to rob that from the next generation.
We've been asked about how long we're willing to fight, and at the end of the day, it's going to be one day longer than they are.
Don't buy no Rice Krispies. Don't buy Fruit Loops. Don't buy Frosted Mini Wheats. no Club Crackers. No Kashi. None of that. We cannot support Kellogg's while these workers are out there on strike. And one of the workers said something I thought was very, very, very striking. Pardon the, put the pun there. But he was like, the company tries to throw in his face how much money that he makes, right? And he was like, well, listen, I wouldn't be at $85,000 or $100,000. He didn't say a number, but I'm assuming that he made a very good salary. If you didn't make me work every Saturday and Sunday and every single holiday, like if you're making people bust their ass and get time and a half and double time and holiday pay, yeah, they are going to have a very, what you would call comfortable salary. But where is their work-life balance? When the fuck do they get to spend time with their children? When do they get to do anything but go make some damn cereal for goddamn Kellogg's, who made a shit ton of money? There's a couple more things I want to bring to you guys' attention, but I'm going to move through it a little bit quickly. Okay, so looking ahead, y'all, there are some upcoming actions in addition to the ones that I have already detailed for you. Can you pop up C5 for me today? This is from the Oregon Federation of Nurses and Health Providers. They have authorized a strike. 96% of their membership authorized a strike. These people say that they are fighting for their patients because Kaiser Permanente, the way that they are staffing hospitals in Oregon and in California, is what the nurses say, making a very unsafe situation. So the Oregon and I believe the California Federation of Nurses and Healthcare Providers have also decided to strike. That is, I think their membership is like 30,000 strong. And this weekend, y'all, October 16th, know it, put it in your brain. If you are an Instacart user, do not utilize Instacart. In fact, Instacart shoppers are asking for you to please delete the app because on October 16th, which is tomorrow, they're walking off the job until their demands are met. What they're asking for is pay per order, not per batch. They're asking for the reintroduction of item commission, in addition to occupational death benefits, and to no longer penalize shoppers for issues outside of their control. And they want a 10% default tip on all orders. And this is the last clip we're going to show today, and I'm going to say good night. I want you guys to hear really quick from some Instacart shoppers, and I want you to please take note of who these shoppers are and their demographic generally, and relative to the asks that they are demanding from Instacart. So let's take a look at that if we could, please, Tunde.
Hi, my name is Annie, and I want to invite you all to not turn on your Instacart app on October 16th. There are numerous reasons we need to stand together and do this, but the main reason I'm doing it is because the pay isn't fair. I'm getting $7 batches for 5 items, and that same pay for 105 items. I'm seeing $7 single orders, doubles, and triples. Where does that extra $14 go? Certainly not into my pocket, and I'm the one doing all the work. I just want to be treated with the respect that I deserve for the job that I do. Individually, my voice means nothing, but if we stand together as one voice, hopefully Instacart will listen.
Hi, my name is Karen, and I've been an Instacart shopper since 2019. Prior to becoming a shopper, I was also an Instacart customer. I can appreciate what the shopper and the consumer both desire and need. As a shopper, I feel that the 5 items that we're requiring or requesting that Instacart reinstate are simple. None of those items are extreme, and none of them will affect the service we provide to our customer. Paying $7 per batch when a batch could be a single, double, or triple is horrible. High mileage batches, high item count batches for $7 an item is extreme. Therefore, I'll be joining my other shoppers in deleting and walking out on Instacart Saturday, October 16th. I hope you'll join me too.
Hi everyone, I'm Sharon. I'm an Instacart shopper for 4 years now. In that time I've seen my pay cut about 60 to 70%, as I'm sure you all have too, if you've been there that long. It's crazy. During the last 18 months, shopping during a pandemic, and they have the nerve to cut our pay during a pandemic, but yet we're essential workers. It doesn't make any sense. It's just not right. So I'm going to walk off on Saturday, October 16th, and I'm not going to turn my app back on until they make it right. We have 5 demands that are not asking a lot, really. It's things that they took away from us pretty much already. So I think it's fair. I think they need to hear us. We're stronger together. So join me October 16th, Saturday. Walk off the job and don't turn your app back on until they meet our demands. It's pretty simple. Thanks a lot.
And those videos are from the Gig Workers Collective. I think the Twitter account is @GigWC. So guys, if you are an Instacart user, customer, delete the app, or at minimum, don't utilize the app. Tomorrow, October 16th, and we're going to stand in solidarity, like Rain DeSud says, with our aunties. Yes, you see the aunties out there, and my heart is broken for the aunties, that the aunties have to go through this bullshit of trying to get the bare minimum in fair worker compensation, especially at their age where they're clearly trying to supplement their income anyway. It's just a heartbreaking situation all around. But the positive thing is that the workers are like, you know what? How about this? How about we turn off the app? And how about we say fuck you to Instacart this weekend? And for all the other workers that are engaged in labor actions across the country, we here at Burn It Down with Kim Brown stand in 100% solidarity with all the workers and boycott any and all of the companies that are not treating their workers responsibly, fairly, and humanely. Guys, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to make it a wrap real quick. So thank you all so much for hanging out. Y'all were great today, cutting up. What's up, Latif? What's going on with you, baby? So glad to see everybody hanging out, and hope to see you guys back here on Tuesday for the Tuesday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. On behalf of Tunde and Male, we will see y'all later. Don't forget, COVID is out here jumping on people. I do not want it to jump on you. Take your proper precautions and be safe out here. See y'all later. Bye-bye. Have a good weekend, everybody.